Wow. Okay. Jesus, that happened quick. I just got back from Guatemala, dude, just now. Hold on. Hey, guys, I'm Michal Alan for TravelCostaRicaNow.com, and that guy right there is Alan Ricard. He's from Living Costa Rica. And wow, we both had interesting weeks, I can tell you. Is that green screen you're using? You don't look like, or you built your house really fast, or are you done building?
Man, I am a fast house builder, man. If you want me to build your house, I'll build it. No, I'm actually at my brother's house in Louisiana. He's got a super nice place, and it does look like a green screen. But hey, I got a lot of stuff I got to pick up this week, and then I'm gonna run right back on Sunday. Which reminds me, we won't be able to make it next Sunday, so we're gonna do it the next following Sunday. But Mike's gonna tell you more because, man, look, the next 2 episodes are gonna be wild.
Yeah, so just to be clear, guys, next Sunday we won't be here. It'll be the Sunday after, but it'll be exciting because we'll be taking personal questions. We're each going to take a week, and there's going to be like our history and maybe get to know us a little bit more personal. Some of you guys really want to do that, and some of you guys may like, I'll be skipping that one. I don't know. Anyway, man, I've kind of been busy, so if anybody that hasn't seen the videos, I went with my partner in crime, D'Angelo, to Guatemala. Now, what happened was he's been doing the perpetual tourism route for 18 years. And, he's been hassled the last couple of times in Nicaragua. So we said, hey, let's try the airport crossing, because the problem was he was 9 days over, which he's never done. Never. In 17, we never went over our 90 days. And since the stories have been coming out in the last, let's say, 5 months, we're like, well, do we really want to try the border on this one, the land border of Nicaragua? So we decided, hey, Guatemala's got some cheap tickets, $130 round trip. He's got his second mom that lives just outside of Antigua. So we went ahead and went to Guatemala. Now, we made a video because we were a little scared that he might have problems at the airport for being the 9 days over. Nothing. And this is the thing. There's been so many scary stories. They start out bad with people being 6 months late, 9 days late. Oh, my God, what's going to happen? I never can come back to Costa Rica. And not one of them has ended badly. Nothing happens, and nothing happened to him. He got his 90 days. They didn't even say anything. And to boot, he has a really crappy passport with a lot of issues, and he's been warned about just his passport alone, that he has to get it changed. Now, it's expiring in a couple months, so he's forced now to do that. But they didn't say anything about that either. So we had a great time in Guatemala. We actually did put up a video yesterday, a little walkthrough we did. It was a very impromptu video, but nonetheless, if no one's been to Guatemala and you want to check that out, you can. It's okay. It's like 19 minutes long or whatever. But anyway, so so you're in Louisiana? Are you moving out of Costa Rica? Are you done? Should you even be on this podcast?
And I'm giving it up. Your breathing technique's not working for me. There's no more tranquility.
Hey, as long as Rebecca's there, I'm not worried. Rebecca is the breathing techniques.
Now, while you're talking about that, okay, now, technically, we're okay, but Rebecca was over 4 months overdue on stamping out.
Thanks.
Really?
The whole world that.
Wow, I might put a call into immigration, man. I can get rid of the competition with the phone call.
But technically, because we are in the process of getting our residency, then we've got what's called the golden ticket. So technically, she doesn't have to stamp out.
That's what the lawyer said. I didn't have to stamp
Just for your driver's license. That's only to keep your driver's license current is the only reason you would have to stamp out if you have the golden ticket. But if anything goes wrong, can I have your house?
Yeah, go ahead. All right.
Oh, my God. I'm a little wound up today. I've had about, I don't know, this might be the third one, and I don't know if you guys can see this. This is a big cup. I don't do those little pussy cups like Alan does. I got the...
Wait. Let's
shoot! Oh, my God, what a burn that was. You burned me. Oh, that was good. Damn it.
Okay, so, Michael, what are we talking about today? Because I know people want to know. what is going on? What's going to be today's topic?
Well, we were going to take questions last week, and we're going to take questions this week. Now, what we're going to try to do is mostly, if we can, hold it down to Costa Rican questions, because any personal questions we'll be doing in the next couple podcasts. One with you, talking about you, your life, me, my life, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to try to do mostly just Costa Rica questions today. If you have to ask a personal question, I'm sure we will field it because we are nice. But, you know, we're going to try to keep them to Costa Rica, really.
Yeah. So that'd be good. Matter of fact, here's probably our first question right here. And Shelly comes up and she says, hey, good morning from Barrio Las Brisas. Hey, always good to see you guys. And he says, hey, Alan, if I remember correctly, you said that you get international health insurance for only $475 a year. If that's right, with whom? That is absolutely correct. I mean, my health insurance is under $500 a year. Okay. I don't remember off the top of my head who that's with, but this is very, very important for everybody. You know, Michael and I do these lives all the time, and tons of comments and stuff. But I've noticed there are a lot of people that will be specifically asking me a question, but you're asking me a question on Michael's channel. Well, I'm not trolling Michael's channel answering those questions. So if you have a question for me, you have to go to my channel and on the exact same video, ask that question, because I answer every single question that's on my channel, which brings up Shelly. I do have that information. I don't know offhand who that is, but I can give you that information when I get back home, or I can look it up, you know, while I'm here. Ask that exact same question below the video on my channel, Shelly, and I'll tell you. But here's the bottom line on that, Shelly. The reason it's so cheap for me to pay only $475 a year is because I requested a deductible of $5,000. I never get sick. But if I get sick, I got to pay the first $5,000. But, you know, if there's an emergency or something like that. So that's the reason my international health insurance is very, very cheap, because I simply I don't get sick. And if I do get sick, something important, I'll take care of VA. I'll use my veterans insurance or veterans benefits.
Did you shop that around at all, or did you just come across that $475? Did you shop? Were you shopping?
No,
for
I did. I did some serious shopping around, but I had my regular links that I had, you know, from whenever all the craziness was going with COVID and all that, because I had a couple of really good people, and then some of them got expensive because it was abused. But then I had a good link, and I did have to make a couple of phone calls, and it was really easy for me to get the $5,000 deductible because I just don't use it. So yeah, I did shop it around.
I just happened to see this question. Randall, do I need a physical? You see that one?
Yep.
Do I need a physical residential Costa Rica address in order to open a business?
No, you don't.
No. I had a business that wasn't physical for 17 years.
Yeah, you can literally, now I don't know why people do it, but you can literally be a tourist and open up a business. The thing you do want to keep in mind is if you're a tourist, they can throw you out of the country at any time, and then who's going to run your business? So I always advise, hey, it is best to actually be a resident here before you open up a business. But you don't have to. You just have to know what's going to happen. As long as you're a tourist and you're abiding by the law and you're not having any problem, you're going to be fine. But if for some reason they deport you, who's going to take care of your business?
Yeah, now I must say that living here 17, 18 years, I know a ton of people that had got into, you know, bars, restaurants, tourist agencies and all kinds of stuff, and they were not residents here. But you are definitely right if something was to happen. But, you know, again, if you're crossing all your T's and dotting off your I's, go back to the United States every now and then and visit your mom, go see some family members. You're not even going to have a problem with the perpetual tourist thing for a while. Don't even worry about that. Now you might be in trouble if you're trying to run some issues and some scams and trying to, you know, pull a fast one on Costa Rica. You might have some issues, but most people, not most people, I just know a lot of people, including myself, that have opened business, cart before the horse, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of us have put the cart before the horse to make sure before we plunk down a bunch of money that things are going to work out or whatever. But if you want to do the correct way, which a lot of people do, you might want to be working on your residency at the same time you're working on your business.
Right, and which would be the most important thing. So keep in mind, we're going to try to answer every single question. If you got a question about living in Costa Rica, a question about anything Costa Rica, we're going to try to answer that question. And here's our next one. And if there's anything personal, we're going to answer that in the next 2 weeks. So Uncle Chico, man, there's Uncle. I ain't seen my uncle in a long time. So Uncle Chico, about dying in Costa Rica and the cost of getting cremated in Costa Rica or transport to Canada or the USA. Now, I can't answer that because it hadn't died yet. How about you, Michael? I don't know anyone that's died in Costa Rica.
I have talked about that on a video before, but I would think I was interviewing somebody and asking them those questions. I mean, I don't know. I believe this is true. When you die in Costa Rica, and if you're Costa Rican, you're like in the ground within 2 days.
Quick.
Yeah,
it's a cardboard box.
It's a quick thing. I mean, and it's going to come down, do you have a will? Do you have somebody next of kin? Do you have somebody here living with you that can help you? Do you have, there's a lot of variables on that answer, I think. Are you living in a mountain like Alan does by yourself and nobody knows you and I think it's really depending. Now, that's why you probably want to tie yourself to a lawyer, have a lawyer, or have some sort of will drawn up. Regardless if you're a resident or a tourist, you could still have that done. I don't know what the legal, and I got to say before we keep going, I don't really like answering legalese questions because can be about 100 different answers.
Yeah.
So it's two questions I have problems with is legal. I know the answers a lot of times, and the same with financial. When people ask about, I don't know your financial situation. It's hard to answer which bank is best for you, which international banking you should go through. Should you get PayPal? Should you do this? Should you do that? Because I don't know situations. So on the debt thing, I'm sorry, I don't really know. You can do all that. You can definitely get your body back, and you can be cremated.
Yeah. So long story short there, Uncle Chico, I have a great attorney that I know does have the answer. You'll go to my channel, put that question underneath that video. I'll be sure to give you a link to that attorney so that you can ask her, and then she can give you the answer to that, okay? Hey, John Miller's got a great question, but hey, I don't know anything about it. Hadn't heard anything about it.
I do.
Let's see.
I do. I follow this shit big time. But it's a whole nother video. But I can tell you what, dude, it's not the cologne. It's the dollar. It's the dollar that's having the issues, my friend. And the dollar is going to continue to have issues. Matter of fact, is it even going to be the world currency soon? So that's all coming. Costa Rica has no power over anything when it comes to money. It's dictated from the outside. So everything's coming from what's happening to the dollar.
Keep in mind that right now, because he's probably looking at, okay, well, why is the dollar worth so much less now compared to the Costa Rica colones? But right now, it's almost normal. It might be a little bit less. But when I came here 10 years ago, this was about where the colones was. Now, they did have this, when they had the transition of the latest president, well, man, the colones were like almost 900, almost 1,000 colones to the dollar, but it finally stabilized back to what I call a normal area. So the normal area has almost been what I call 1 to 2. In other words, $1 was worth or
500 to 1, because
right.
like you, Alan, when we got here 18 years ago, we made a couple videos about how to do the money here, because it's a very simple math when it's 500 to 1. It's double whatever so if you see a 2,000 colony bill, it's about $4. If you saw a 5,000 colony bill, it's about $10. If you see a 10,000 colony bill, it's about $20.
That's
now,
right.
What happened was the dollar got weak this last year, and the colony was strong. And now it's evening out a little bit. But the thing is, nothing's going to be dependable right now, because the dollar is they're trying to keep it good, with the Fed, and everyone's getting involved in that, and but there's a lot of stuff going on, and I got a feeling that might change a little bit again in the near future.
Yeah, I think now, and I don't want to get into the politics, but I agree with you. But from right now until the elections in 2024, anything can happen. Anything can happen. So, but I don't want to go there. We don't want to get into politics. I know people can kind of go haywire on that. But anyway, from right now to 2024, who knows what might happen to the dollar or anything else. So here, our next question is, John Miller says, I heard the government approved dredge fishing again, and he's considering they're considering petro exploration. I hadn't heard anything about that. What about you, Michael?
I have heard that, and they did approve that, I believe. Unfortunately, these are like political questions. They're, approving dredge fishing again. It's deeper than that. There's why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Costa Rica's got a long, unfortunate record of, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of shark finning. Shark finning, that's the Asian thing where they cut off the shark fin, and it's an aphrodisiac or whatever they use it for. It's a sign of wealth in Asian markets, and it's big and it's huge. So what they do, and what they've been doing for 20 years, ever since I've been here, is they go out in the waters around Costa Rica, catch thousands upon thousands of sharks, cut off the fin, throw the rest of it back in, so they can bring more fins in, because if they bring the whole shark, obviously that's going to load up their, cargo area quicker. Now, a place called Potoma, which is a conservative outfit that speaks on the behalf of the turtles and the sharks. Well, I did one of the first interviews I ever did, and it's not that good, but I was trying, was with the president of Potoma, I think it's called. What they do is they make laws in Costa Rica that sound like, oh, we're fixing the shark finning problem. We're fixing it. But what they do is once they do make the law, they find ways to circumvent it, because what happened is the ships are still coming in and shark finning. There's all kinds of videos about it. If you watch the videos, man, even whoever's watching would feel bad for the shark. But my point is that, just like most places, people make laws, people change things, and there's usually other ulterior motives going along with that thing that they say they're doing. So hard to say. Maybe, it's really hard to say unless you do deep dives and go down serious rabbit holes, of looking into this. So I believe that all political systems are basically corrupt. And I do believe that most of them are for money and that, wealth at the top and all that kind of stuff. I don't think anybody's really looking out for the middleman. I don't care who you are and what country you're in. So there's always ulterior motives, and I'm gonna go with that answer. But
yeah, I agree with you. And Maria has a good question, and she's like, with the Madness 2.0 approaching, is there any area in Costa Rica to live where I'll be able to shop for groceries without having to cover my face? So hey, here's the short answer to that. Probably not. In Costa Rica, they will follow the letter of the law, and everywhere you went, you had to have a face mask on, unless you were out in the open areas. So I'm hoping that that's not going to happen again, but it looks like it could be happening. I know that that's what they're pushing for. When I say they, the extreme, are pushing for that crap again. But what I do know is that you will be safer in Costa Rica than you will be anywhere else in the world, because the last time all that madness happened, Australia practically locked down. The Philippines locked down. All kind of stuff locked down, where in Costa Rica, you still had the freedom to go and do, and, but you still had to cover your face, wash your hands. Well, wash your hands was a good thing, because nobody in Costa Rica, Ticos, just don't wash their hands. There's no soap, no toilet paper, no paper towels. That's the only time we had soap, toilet paper, and paper towels. It was during COVID. So anyway, that's the short answer on that.
Yeah, I got a video taken down talking about masks. I got to tell you, I have a strong opinion. I have gone down some rabbit holes, and I do research, and I just don't listen to somebody's agenda. I tend to listen to people that have no political agenda. I'm more science-based and those kind of things. So if the masks do come back, I will be giving grocery stores a really hard time.
Yeah,
I can tell you. I'll go in and I'll like, They'll have to tell me to put it on. And there's some places, I think I said this before, right in the middle of the pandemic, we were coming back from those protests in San Jose and went to a big store. They're all masked up. Me and my buddy walked in with no mask. They did not say one thing.
And most Costa Ricans won't say anything because they're non-confrontational. They might look at you like, well, who's that stupid gringo? But Costa Ricans are non-confrontational. They probably won't. And I agree with you 100%, Michael.
Yeah.
And you already see states in the United States making laws that they're not going to do that mandate stuff, like Texas. So if that stuff starts catching on, maybe it'll catch over here in Costa Rica a bit. So we'll see.
Yeah. Hey, I agree with Mutterly in Love. Feed my body to the crocodiles. Ecology is important. Hey, I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Circle of life, baby. Circle of life. I tell my friends, if I die, take me out the car, throw me out in the jungle. Let's do that circle of life. Have a jaguar and the vultures. Enjoy.
The way I look at it, why waste? I told Rebecca, why waste money on me, man? Go crabbing, go crawfishing. Use me for bait.
Yeah. So that I know Uncle Chico asked that cremated question. I'm going to be cremated the natural way and probably some jaguar's teeth.
Hey, Randall has a good question. I'm looking into Wise for money transfers. Hey, that is a very wise decision. I use Wise, and Wise is just, hey, because a lot of question comes up. Hey, one of the reasons I'm here is my debit card from my bank expired. And so if your debit card expires, it's very, very difficult depending on what bank you're in. They don't want to mail it to Costa Rica. And so they'll mail it to my brother's house. I'm here at my brother's house. I picked up my debit card today so that when I go to the United States, I can use my debit card from my American bank and I can withdraw cash. But I also got me a Wise account, and I've got a debit card for Wise. And so guess what? Always have at least 2 different debit cards. So you got a backup. In the event your debit card expires, you got a backup. I can transfer money into my Wise account, use my Wise debit card, and that way I can still get money. I'm not in a bind.
Alan, I signed up for Wise about, I would say 2 months ago. It was all going well, and all of a sudden I couldn't make the transfers. I can't remember what my issue was. If it was is there a cap on how much you can spend? Do you have to does it have to tie to American Bank? Maybe that was my problem.
I think it does have to tie to an American bank because that's really, my Wise account is still new, so I could be lying to you, but because mine is still new. But I use Wise and I haven't had any problems with it, and it's set up really easy. But I did have to tie it to my American bank because that's the only way I can transfer money into Wise.
I actually got all signed up. Everything was going good. And then when I actually tried to make a transfer, it goes, oh, it was something about me being in Costa Rica. I think I used my wrong address or something, and it recognized it. And once I made that mistake, I couldn't sign up again. It was like, yeah, we know what you're doing. That's right. It was something about me living in Costa Rica. Maybe the phone number, something was wrong. But they recognize Costa Rica and they go, I'm sorry, you can't do a transfer from Costa Rica or whatever it was. It was something wrong with that.
Okay, and so this is the way to fix that issue because a lot of places are like that. Because Costa Rica,
you're right.
A lot of places in Costa Rica, third world country. So the way to fix that issue is you have a VPN, okay? So matter of fact, I have a link to Surfshark. I use Surfshark. If you need a link to Surfshark, ask that question. I'll give you that link, and you can get a really discounted plan on a VPN. But anyway, I take my VPN anytime I do something like Wise, and I change where I'm in Louisiana. It looks like I'm in Louisiana, and I fill out all that important stuff, and I use my Louisiana address. I have a Skype number, so I use my Louisiana Skype number, and all that stuff just falls in so easy.
Yeah, I want to get back real quick because I see a couple of people commenting. Yes, I did kind of know that. I just thought Wise. I heard Wise was so good that I thought I could slide in. It didn't work. Now, the debit card, you're picking one up. My mom's got mine. I'll have mine in about 3-4 weeks. Now, the other thing I've done is I have had it sent down here before. Do not do that. Don't do that. I had mine sitting behind the post office. No, we can't find it for 2 months. And it was a fiasco. I did that once, learned the hard way. I either, once you've been here a while and you start clicking with other people, you can send your card. Like I will send, the card will go to my mom because that's the address PayPal uses for me. She will in turn send that card to wherever I tell her to send it in the United States. Maybe some tourist coming down and go, Michael, hey man, I know we're going to be in La Fortuna. You want? I've gotten books that way. People bring me stuff and I don't even literally know them, but maybe I've set up a travel package for them, or I got my friend coming in. There's always people coming and going. So this time I'm picking it up in my mom's house in Maine. But if I wasn't, I would have her send it to somebody that's going to be down here in the next week or month or whatever it is. So now, there's ways of getting it down here, and once you're down here for a while, trust me, you figure out these hacks.
That's right. And I agree completely with you because look, I actually had my sister-in-law send me a small box. Okay. It had some physical things in it and put a new debit card in there. That box got stuck at customs. Okay. Well, at customs, I went to go get it. Well, guess what happened when I went to customs to go get that box? Well, the customs guy already took my debit card and he already started using my debit card.
Nice, huh?
So that debit card wasn't good at all, right? So, but now there is one other way you can send it FedEx, but if you send it FedEx, it will not go to a post office. It has to go to a physical address. And so I had to actually have it. It costs about $50 to send it FedEx, but they will send it FedEx, but it has to be at a physical place.
I don't like that way.
Yeah. So anyway, they're hacks, but some.
You know what? I was just thinking, Alan. Speaking of credit cards and debit cards, if anybody wants to work their credit card or debit card out, we have a relocation event coming up at the end of October, early November. So if Costa Rica is on your radar, thinking you might want to live here, but you're not quite sure, this 6-day, 7-day event might be for you. We love hanging out, answering your questions. You're going to get so much great information. Not only the information, we say this every time because it's the most important thing. You will meet the best contacts you will have. Real estate people, residency immigration people, get your car to ship it to Costa Rica people, everybody, the people we circle ourselves with, you will know. You do not want to start out living in Costa Rica, starting a project off with the wrong people. You can lose thousands of dollars. I'm not trying to, drama. It's true. You've got to start things off with the right people, whether you're building, buying, residency, all of it. So just for that, it's worth the price of admission. If you want to sign up for that relocation event, it's on my Travel Costa Rica Now, Travel Costa Rica Now retreat.com. And Alan, where can they find your information? Same retreat, guys. Same retreat.
Same retreat. Every single video that goes on YouTube, there's a link in the description below where you can click that link to go to the relocation event. Hey, the most favorite thing that Michael Alan and I do is we look forward to meeting you. We like to sit around, answer your questions, chat by the pool, chat around the dinner table, have a beer together, and just ask questions. We love to meet you, answer your questions at the relocation event. And like Michael said, hey, just getting the contacts will save you thousands upon thousands of dollars.
And at the end of this retreat, normally you should know if Costa Rica is right for you or it's honey, we're going to Portugal,
Absolutely.
I see it. Go ahead. We can put up a question, I guess.
All right. So going
John,
through here. Here's one for you, Michael. Emery says, hey, I recently saw around La Fortuna, some people were facing increased water prices without any notice. Have you noticed any change, Michael?
I pay the water bill every month, and I got to tell you, I haven't noticed much because it's always been so low. It's my lowest of bills. So it's always been like, let's say $7 or $6, whatever it is. So unfortunately, I have not seen that. But if I did, I probably wouldn't care because I don't think it wouldn't be that much. I can't imagine it being that much of an increase. The only increase I was pissed off about is they increased my Caja payment without telling me by about $25. I don't know what's up with that. I'm still looking into that. But the water thing's the least bill here. So unless you're doing something, water, like you want to run a laundromat service or something, I don't see the water thing being a problem. And the other thing is La Fortuna doesn't have the problems with water that some other places in Costa Rica seem to be having, like Nosara, Samara, and those places seem to be having water issues. La Fortuna really doesn't have that. I think it's, I don't know, we get more rain, we got rivers. There's like a million rivers that go through Fortuna, you know, the runoff from the mountains. We just, like my partner's Airbnb, you know, the water comes straight down the mountain into the house, you know, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Now take a look at Lisa. Lisa says, we have a will in the United States and we plan on living in Costa Rica and getting residency. So what country does the will need to be in? So you will need to rewrite that will in Costa Rica. So you'll need to contact an attorney. You can ask that same question on my channel, and I'll give you a link to a great attorney. But you'll need to register that actual will with Costa Rica, have it registered. That way it's all on file. And in that way, what you want to happen upon your death will happen.
Every just think of it this way too. Any legal paper you do in anything in Costa Rica has to be in Spanish. In English, it doesn't count. It can be signed, it can be notarized, it can look official, it can be written in gold. Doesn't mean shit. You have to have every legal thing in Spanish.
I'm glad you brought that up.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Hey, Pamela. Hey, Pam, good to see you again. Michael, have you been in one of those modular homes that you visited with Johnny that has one actually been delivered and set up yet?
Not the ones to the community, Johnny's community, no, but yes, I have been in one. I like them because, again, I'm simple life. They're very practical and precise, very kind of boxy. You can spruce them up a bit, but I actually prefer the small ones that look like tiny little homes. So, and those are the ones I've been in before, is more of the tinier ones. But I like them, but again, they're not for everybody. Some people, you know, it's either too small or might look too, what did they used to call them? I'm sorry, not modular homes. What were they? Prefab. You know, I think the modulars are looking better now, and they are constructed very well now too. So I like them, but again, not for everybody. People kind of want what they want, and you know, I don't know. I can live in a shoebox, so I'm probably not the.
Yeah, I'm just like Michael, but you know, you can get prefab houses here, and prefab houses are the concrete prefab houses. They're really quick to go up. They're not the prettiest things in the world, but hey, you can make what you want.
Cheap. A Tico house can be built for like $12,000.
Yeah, and
for real.
About 2 weeks, they're done with that thing. Okay.
Yeah. Now it's cheap. It's practical. There's no cabinets in it. There's no closets.
They don't install the electricity. They don't install the water. There's no ceiling. There's a roof, but there's no ceiling. Okay. So you have a place to be in the dry. Okay. And you just finish up the rest yourself.
I live in one. I live in one.
Yeah. Hey, quick shout out to Uncle Chico. And look, guys, y'all are welcome to do this. At the bottom of my YouTube channel, there's a place you can hit that $sign. You can show your appreciation. I don't know if Michael's got one of those in his channel or not, but if he don't, he should put one on there. You click the $sign and show your appreciation. Give $1, $2, $50, whatever you want. You know, and it really does help us, supports us, all the research work we do to help answer your questions. So, Uncle Chico, thank you so much for your support. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. Okay.
I have a donate button on travelcostarica.com. I don't really feel Alan needs the money, though. I think it's more me. I mean, look where you're at. You're in like a $1 million house. I live in a little Tico house. I want to increase my concrete width. I need some more.
Don't tell people that. Most of the Ticos of Costa Rica got more money than I got. I'm broke.
Hey, pull up that container home when I got some good info on that.
Yeah, the one that he was asking about a while ago, and
got Emery G's got talking about a container. You see that?
Emery.
Oh, we can do this one first. What was?
Yeah. Okay. Well, you can pull it up as well if I don't see it. But look, Lori says, "What was the Costa Rica doing at the White House last week?"
Making deals. What else would they be doing there? Making deals that we'll never hear about.
That's
really?
right. Now, he did call me and ask permission to go visit my buddy, not my buddy. He did ask me permission to go visit Michael's buddy Biden at the White House, and I told him to go after it.
I'm not, you know what? Watch yourself. I will end this podcast. I will end this podcast.
All right. Let's see here. Hey, if you see the question, you can click on it yourself from your end, Mike.
All right. I'm sorry. You're right. I thought you were the technical guy. I didn't know. All right. So I did a video about a guy that does the container homes. He's out of San Ramon. I don't know if at the end they're necessarily popular or cheaper or anything. There's a lot more than the modular home route. Just the container itself might be cheap, but there's a lot of things you got to do to a container to make it right. You know, because you do have to it has to be insulated. Obviously, you're going to need air conditioning. You got to protect it. We have a friend that had a container home up by D'Angelo's Airbnb. They got broken into. How do you break into a closed down container home? They did. You know, so that heat, humidity, rain, container homes are good, but you got to protect it. The roof, most of them here have a roof over the roof. It's just not an exposed container roof, and that container roof has to be protected as well on the surface. On the surface, like tar on a mobile home. You know, when you had to, if you have a mobile home, you used to have to put the tar up there. But then they usually put a roof over the container roof as well for protection. But you gotta, you know, good air quality, keeping it cool, keeping it, you know, all that. It's doable, but again, you run into costs. So yeah, you might get a container for X amount of dollars. I think you can get them. I think they're like $9,000, aren't they? I don't know.
Well, you know, that's a good question, because I looked into a container home before I started building my metal house, and I could not find a place that I could get it cheap enough to be worthwhile. And like Michael said, I can't remember what the price was, but I was like, at that price, I can buy the metal, put it together myself, and then I'm not dealing with a container home that might be rusted or whatever. So, yeah, you know, and like where I'm at, I wouldn't even need insulation or anything because it's the perfect weather. But if I had a container home on the beach, dude, that baby is hot. You're living in a tin box. But, and then, of course, you're limited to that 8 foot, which means if you want it to be insulated, you're losing another 6 or 8 inches by putting interior walls and insulation up. So now you're really living in a small, tight spot. So it's all those things you got to think about. But, hey, like Michael said, take care of that roof, put another roof on top of it, and then you got something that's kind of a quick setup.
My container video that I did, it's kind of old now, but it doesn't really change the information. I asked all the questions that you would ask about a container home if you knew nothing about container homes. I don't know I'm sure if you typed in container homes in Costa Rica or something, my video should be there, even though it's probably about 7 years old now. But it's got all the questions and I'm asking somebody that does container homes. So if you want to check it out, you can. Maybe I'll put it in a link in the description of this video so you guys interested can check it out.
Hey, here's a pretty, we could probably go crazy on this question here. Doug says, with the devastation in Maui, do you think you'll see an increase in tourism and people buying in the next few years? Now, this is just my opinion. That whole Maui thing is something that we can go nuts on, and I won't go there because I think that's all political stuff. But I don't think that what's happening in Maui is going to cause an increase in tourism here. I don't think, in my opinion. People that want to come to Costa Rica come to Costa Rica. People that want to go to Maui, they're going because it's Hawaii. And years ago when I lived in Japan, I went to Maui, and when I was in Maui on the beach, I was like, I thought I was still in Japan. There was more Japanese people than there was anything. Okay. But anyway, I think that what's going to happen over the next year between now and the election, I think there is going to be an increase in buying this year people afraid of what is going to happen with the 2024 elections. I think Michael Alan and I are going to see a huge increase in views on our channel because people are wanting to know what's about to happen, what's about to happen, what's about to happen. So that's all I can say on that. What you got, Michael?
I think I got an answer. Tourism is already exploded back here, so we're already good. And guess what? The buying, the living here has been happening now since COVID. There's been my email suggests that a lot of you guys want to live here, or at least looking at Costa Rica, which is why you should go to the relocation tour. But anyway, properties, are exploding here. There's a lot of property here for sale, a lot of good prices here. The emails suggest again that a lot of people want to live here, and I would suggest I would think that there will be an uptick on that. And I don't think it almost matters about the 2024 election because both parties are worried about the other party being. It doesn't matter. It's going to be from everybody. I don't like where the U.S. is going. Well, they both say that. So, there's going to be an influx. There already is. So if Costa Rica's on your radar, the only tip I would probably give you is try to look past all the normal places that people look at in Costa Rica. You do not have to live in Tamarindo. You do not have to live in Uvita. You do not have to live in La Fortuna. There are a lot of great places in Costa Rica that don't have 1,000 gringos there.
That's
you
right.
still are close. So it's funny. People talk about gentrification. The U.S., all these people are buying up. Yeah, well, quit going to Samara. Quit going to Nosara. Quit going to Vita. There's other 750 miles of beaches here. You can live other places. Be off the grid, on the grid, and just a million places. And for some reason, everybody looks at the same 6 places.
And look, don't go hollering, oh, property is so expensive. Yes, property is increasing. But guess what? I bought a piece of property, and I bought the smallest piece I could. I think it's 200 square meters. It's big enough to build a house on. It's tiny, but it's big enough to build a house on. Michael, just take a wild guess. You'll never guess what I paid for a 200 square meter piece of property.
I don't know, but I guarantee it was cheap because you're not around anything.
That's right.
They probably could have given it to you for free. And
I bought it for $1 million colones.
That's like $2,000.
Yeah, that's right. At that time, it equaled $1,600 in U.S. money. $1,600 for a 200 square meter piece of property. And I bought it to put my tower on for my internet, okay? But I could have built a house there. So 200 square meters, $1 million colones, and you can find that if you know where to look. But like Michael said, if you're going to live in Jaco, Hermosa, you're going to live, in these popular tourist places, stinking go down to San Isidro. That's my most favorite place. It's the second largest and fastest growing city in Costa Rica outside the metropolitan area. And you can find great property deals down there. And you're close to hospitals, close to everything that you need, close to Walmart. So, yeah, like Michael said, everything is going up, but you can still find phenomenal deals.
Yeah, and most times, I don't know what people know this or not. It doesn't matter, but we Travel Costa Rica Now has a real estate channel. We are doing real estate stuff, so I am privy to some things. I went to a property. And they're all like this. You don't have to be in the middle of La Fortuna. Just go 10, 15 minutes away. You can find really good price videos. This German guy I did an interview with months back, was looking for property all around Costa Rica, 20 minutes from La Fortuna in a place called like Monterey. And he was looking for big hectares, which if you guys know what a hectare is, I think a hectare is like 2 acres or something like that.
2.4.
Yeah, so it was a huge property. I think it was like 5 hectares. It was huge. 3 waterfalls, and not just where water's going over a rock. I mean, picturesque pools of water, swim in the water, cool waterfalls. It had pasture land, vistas, jungle, trees. $200,000.
Wow.
Beat that. anywhere. And there's places like that all around if you know where to look. And they're not in the middle of Uvita. They're not in the middle of Jaco. You've got to be willing to be, again, off the grid, on the grid. I don't know why people feel that they need to be in the center of Manuel Antonio or Jaco. Right. It amazes me. Unless you're starting a tourism type of business, I see that. If you want to start a bar, you can't start it up on a mountain. But other than that, if you're coming down here to live a different type of life, you know, there's options. There are a lot of options.
Jennifer says, do gringos have to have approval to do volunteer work in Costa Rica? Hey, I don't actually know the answer to that, but I do know a lot of gringos that do volunteer work. And so I'm thinking that the answer is no, you don't have to have approval. What Costa Rica is big on is you're not taking a job from a Tico that's getting paid. So do you know anything on that, Michael?
Well, I'm just going to answer like I answer all these questions. Who cares? It doesn't matter what it says it doesn't matter what some of these things say on the books here. What their laws are and what they do are two different things. I know people that run dog rescues out of their home, you know, that volunteer and take stray dogs. You know, nobody's going to say, like, there's an orphanage in Fortuna. If you want to volunteer, you know, they're not going to say no to that. You know, I mean, you can do all kinds of things here. And volunteering is, a matter of fact, if you are coming down here and you want to get into something, I would say volunteering is one of the best things you can do to get a hobby, to you know, have a purpose, to give back. So, you know, look for those places you can. We have a lot of them in Fortuna because the tourism field, like there's called Pyrotecto Assis, which has, like, you know, the sloth that fell out of the tree, or the monkeys that are wounded, or the parrots that can't fly. They have a whole refuge, and people go there all the time to volunteer. Now, you got to pay for that one. That's another thing they do here. A lot of the tourism volunteering is you're paying for the privilege. But if you're coming down here, come down here to
way to make money.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just what they do.
Look, matter of fact, you can volunteer at my place, and look, I'll only charge you $100 a week to come volunteer at my place, help me build my house.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I think Rhonda said it, you know, there's a lot of dog rescue places down here because there's a lot of gringos. I'm not saying Costa Ricans don't care about dogs. There's a lot of people that's getting better here, much better than it was back when we first came. But there's a lot of gringos come down here that are very into the dogs or cats or whatever, and they see some of the maybe needed help that these dogs need. And I know quite a few just in our area, gringos that help with the dog. You know, they pick them up off the street, maybe go get them spayed and neutered. Maybe they, you know, find them a home, take them to the vet, and, you know, get the main. A lot of people, they just drive and bring them food, drop off bags of dog food because these dogs are starving on the street. Here's a great question from Christy, who says, good morning from North Carolina. Is pollen a big problem there with year-round flowers? And look, for me, I've never had a problem with pollen, but I know that, you know, every year in the United States, you'd see yellow residue everywhere from the pollen. I never see yellow residue from pollen in Costa Rica. I never see it like it is in the United States. And from all the different people I talk to, I haven't found anybody yet that has really had a serious pollen issue in Costa Rica. How about you, Michael? Well, you know, it's funny you say that. I don't think it's really pollen so much. I didn't know I had any of these problems. I think you might have more of a problem being allergic to the mold and mildew around your house, or when you sweep the floor, have issues. I have more issues with, like, if I'm like doing a deep cleaning or something, that's more of my allergy or the mold and the mildew in somebody's old house. I don't really see the pollen stuff as much. I got a lot of gringo friends here. I don't really hear anybody complain. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I would never say that because, you know, who knows? But I don't see it. I see it more with, like, mildew, you know, that kind of stuff. Situational, like walking into a house that's, you know, moldy, you know, or whatever, and that kind of issue. Yeah,
absolutely. And
sorry, I wasn't very helpful, but that's the only thing. I just haven't heard.
Pollen is just from all the people I took. Pollen is just not an issue. I haven't seen pollen being an issue down here. I've never even talked to anybody that says, "Man, I got to go get allergy pills." Just not an issue here. Now, what is Wise? Wise is really kind of like PayPal, but 100 times better. So you could go to wise.com or put that chat in, ask that question, and I'll send you a link directly there to Wise, and you can open up a Wise bank account. And what's really great about Wise is that you don't just have one currency. You can get currencies from just about every country. So if I put $1,000 in my Wise account and I want to withdraw colonas, I can if I want to spend colonas, I can use whatever currency I want in my Wise account. So wise.com is just really a great place to do your online banking, and then you can get a debit card from them as well. So that's actually, I hope that answers your question, Doug.
Yeah, just to make sure, don't do what I did, Doug, because I did sign up. I thought I was all good, and then when I went to go do that first transaction, I did something wrong. I guess I used Costa Rica's. I don't know what I did wrong, but it had something to do with living here, and they said we don't do that with Costa Rica. But I'm sure I filled out something wrong, so don't start out on the wrong track. Make sure you sign up correctly with the right information so you can get that account working for you.
Yeah, Michael and Rhonda said that they use Wise, but she says lately they've been imposing 5-day delay. But I think that's pretty common in a lot of places. The transfers do go pretty quickly, and look, 5 days is quicker than most places. But I even experienced it was, I think, 2 days delay on a transfer I got. But anyway, that money will leave your bank account, but it does take a little bit of time before it actually gets into the other bank. But it is really, really good to use. Now, Shelly said, as we was talking about getting a debit card through DHL or UPS, she said it cost her $200 to get that debit card to her door. She had to use a physical address, but so it is expensive. I know the last time I used DHL or UPS or FedEx, it was like $50 just to send a letter.
Shelly, next time you get your debit card, let me know, and I'll get that card for you a lot cheaper. Okay?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Okay. Here. So,
how's that one?
Hey.
You took my public. No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go back. I didn't realize that. I thought I hit something. Go back.
I've been dropping the ball on this. I can see why you took over. You're like, Michael, you can do this. So I was kind of being lazy. Go ahead. We'll do this one first.
All right. So Jennifer says, would you agree it is less expensive to build a home than buy? I 100% agree that you can, and especially if you're doing a lot of that work yourself, you can way better build a home than buy, and I would certainly recommend it. Now, a couple of years ago,
we're fighting on this one. We're going to be fighting.
Now, look, a couple of years ago, they have such a humongous inventory of places that I saw one house phenomenal, and I know Michael's about to say this. Some houses you can buy really, really, really cheap. Now, the question is, you don't know how it's been built. You don't know what's wrong with it. You don't know how many problems it has. So I would never, because look, I'm a builder. I know the quality of building in Costa Rica. I'd never buy a Costa Rican built house, man. That's crap. Okay. But I would build my own house and it still would be a whole lot cheaper. But go ahead, Michael, take over, buddy, because I know what you're about going to tell them.
Well, I know, I know too. Most people have no business, zero business trying to build their own home here if they don't know what they're doing. I've got a lot of video interviews of people that have built here, whether it's been their little hotels, their Airbnbs, their cabinas, or their house. Not one of them is a good story, except for after it's completely finished. They love the finished product, but what a process it was. You're talking about and this is why I was saying that about the contacts. If you don't have the right people, see, Alan knows the biz, he's doing it. But if you get the wrong people, they'll steal your shit. They'll put things in you didn't know. The piping will be the cheapest available. All your lumber comes in and we're ready to build the next day. And then you wake up the next day, all the lumber's gone. There is a lot. If you do not know yourself the building construction business, or have some sort of inkling, or have a very, very trusted friend, be prepared. You want to see Pura Vida? You want to see, hey, yes, we'll get that done for you, and that'll be 3 months. Yeah, we understand you need to have your house done in 3 months. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. So I would be very, very cautious. To me, I would buy pre-existing. I'm not putting up with any of that. I've got too many stories. But again, it's mostly people that think they know what's going on. And yeah.
And look, I agree 100% with Michael said. And look, that's why it's important for you to go to the relocation event, because at the relocation event, I actually teach on that topic about building in Costa Rica and what you need to do to avoid getting conned. Because look, if you do it wrong, you're going to get conned. You're going to spend an absolute fortune. So you need to know what to do. And I talk about that. That's some of what I do. So, it's look, it's a shame, because if you have a house in Costa Rica and you go to the United States and you don't have someone house sitting it, the Ticos will start dismantling that house. And look, Rebecca and I have seen 2 houses already where obviously the gringos left, didn't have a house sitter, and slowly but surely, piece by piece, they started dismantling the house, starting with the roof, and now there ain't nothing left to the house. They stole every bit of it. Okay, so and it's like Michael said, if you have building materials up there, if you don't have a hired guard or way to keep that stuff locked up, they will steal all that. The last job I was on.
But every step of the way, Alan, I mean, you get the wrong real estate lawyer, you get the wrong property or the construction manager, the wrong architect, there's just so many things along the way that can screw you over. And the problem, the biggest problem is now you're in the middle of construction. You can't change. You see it's going wrong. You're like, we've made a mistake. We should have, oh my God. And it's hard to stop. And you're sinking in tons of money. Please, nobody do this unless you know exactly what you're doing or surrounded by people you trust that know what they're doing. Not people that go, no, my cousin can help you. This is what he does. Just
look.
You like me, right? You trust me. Trust my cousin, and my cousin knows some people. They'll come over, put your cement in. It's no problem, and he's cheap.
Hey, watch my channel. And real quick story. The guy hired me to supervise his place, and he was putting up a humongous place in Jaco or Hermosa. Anyway, he had already started putting up a place, had already gotten $100,000 into it. And when he hired me, I went and looked at it, inspected the joint, and I says, no, dude, this thing is so full of mold. It's so built wrong. It's wrong here. It's wrong there. It's wrong. And look, you know what he had to do? He had to tear down and throw away $100,000 on something he had already started. And we wiped it. We cleared the slate and started from the ground up, from the foundation up. And the foundation he had was about this big for something huge. All wrong. So, like Michael said, it will quickly go south in a hurry.
Yeah, and there's way too many of those stories. Hey, Roger, how's it going?
So, take a quick look at John says, hey, I'm thinking of shipping down my woodworking equipment. I'm concerned about electricity costs, reliability, and availability. Should I be looking at getting a big 3-phase diesel generator to ship down too? And I would say yes. Now you will, if you're in a good place, electricity is not going to be a problem. It does flicker a whole lot, and so I'm 100% on solar. So if you're worried about it flickering, you could just have a backup generator, and that would solve your problem. Or because the electricity does go on and off a lot. Some places it'll go off for hours, but it just really depends on where you're at. The infrastructure in Costa Rica is not set up right. If they turn electricity off, it's off for the whole stinking town, and it's insane. So, and I'm on solar, so I never have to worry about mine going off. But yeah, and of course, if you're thinking about shipping it down, I would definitely ship down my woodworking equipment, because you'll not find anything of the same quality as what you have. And hey, Michael and I both have a good friend, Pablo, and you're going to talk to Pablo about shipping your stuff down.
Yeah, I would also say it's never going to be bad to have a diesel generator sitting on your property. So I would always say yes to that. I would probably say, I think the electricity has gotten a little better over the years that I've been here. Obviously, it does depend on your location. You know, if you're going to be living in the Central Valley in a pretty populated area, you're going to be pretty good. Fortuna's gotten better. Like we've had 5 or 6 podcasts. I'm going to knock on wood on this because we haven't had any. The internet hasn't flickered. We haven't gone offline. So it happens. It depending on where you are, might be happening less frequently. Like here in Fortuna, it does happen. Like my light just went off. But I would say a generator is never going to be a bad move.
Absolutely.
Really expensive here.
But I would say 90% reliable. You're not going to have a problem. I think you're good.
Let's take
wow,
a quick
it's been an hour, dude.
It has been. So I'm looking here. Hey, we are at an hour. So I'm gonna quickly. Here's a real good question here. What is the easiest bank to set up an account for perpetual tourists? And hey, that's an easy answer. You go to any. Don't go to the national banks like Bank of Costa Rica, Bank of Nacional. You want to go to a private bank institution like Couple BAC is one I think is good. Go to a private banking institution. What do you think, Michael?
In my experience, I don't even know why you'd want to set up an account here. You can easily keep all your accounts, get wise, do other methods. There's really almost no reason to get a bank account here unless you're doing a business or something. You can get accounts where your ATM withdrawals are next, zero or next to zero. And a lot of banks here, they'll just tell you, no, you can't do it. And then the other one is, you remember like when you're just out of high school, you're 18 and you want to start, working on your credit and like, oh, you got to give them $500 and you can work that off. In the beginning, you have like $1,000 thing you can do. You can't go over. You can't do this. You can't do that because we don't know you yet. I find it more of a hassle to even do that. So personally, I wouldn't even go that route. I just wouldn't go that route. There's no reason for it these days with the internet and banking and some of the options you have. Charles Schwab International, Wise. I have a whole list of actually banks that are very good options that you just, that have no ATM fees, and that kind of thing. And you just work your stuff on a debit card or whatever. So I personally wouldn't even mess with it.
the only, and like Michael, I agree with Michael. You don't need to have a Costa Rican bank. I'm a tech nut, okay? I'm a tech guru. I'm a nerd. I like to pay all my stuff online. So I do have a Costa Rican bank because I ain't going to stand at some stupid store to pay my electricity, pay this, pay that. I'm going to pay all mine online. And then I have the ability to send money to other people through Sinipe, however they call that. So there are advantages to it, but you definitely don't need a Costa Rican bank in order to do that, okay?
Yeah, but that's the problem. If you want to, you pay your bills, and if you're paying too much, you don't have enough money. There's qualifications for that, and it's just not, And again, even to set up something like that, there's paperwork. It's just stupid paperwork for no reason. It's like
insane.
I got $5,000 to put in this account, and watch what happens. Watch what happens. You're gonna make your life miserable.
Okay, so if you have something really important, because we're going to be signing out here any moment, but Jennifer says, when moving from rent-a-home to rent-a-home, how do you move your furniture? And look, I've done it a whole lot, okay? So I moved, intentionally, but they are locals that will have a big truck, and all you got to do is offer to pay them to move. And some of them, that's what they do. They have a big truck. And look, they would move all of this. We don't have a whole lot of stuff. Never did buy a lot of stuff, but it cost me about $100. They'd come in there, throw everything in the back of that truck. And when I say throw everything, that's about how they do it. Every time I move, they beat up stuff and scratch it up. So I'd have to be there to help them load that stuff up, putting blankets around stuff to try to keep it from getting it beat to death. Okay. And then they'd go and we get to the next place. unload it all, and you know, they're not gonna do like house movers in the United States. Oh, this is in the bedroom and that's it. No crap. No, it's in the yard or it's in the living room, and then you go put it where you want to put it. But that's how you move from rental house to rental house in Costa Rica.
Now in La Fortuna, so we have about 3 big trucks, you know, that sit in the center of town every day next to the grocery store. You just go up to them and go, follow me, you know, and it's actually pretty reasonable. And now the people here, the ones, I've lived here a long time, so they've been doing it a long time. I don't know if they're so rough with the stuff. They're pretty decent. And actually, it's a pretty cheap method. I've moved apartments or houses here, you know, just locally, and it's really not that much. You know, I mean, it's not even worth using your friend's car. Just get the truck. They're pretty good about loading stuff up for the most part, and I can just walk down right now, and I can have a truck in, you know, in my house in 15 minutes. You know?
That's right. I mean, there's ticos there with the taxi trucks all the time. But I hired a couple of guys, you know, that had a truck where I could put it all in one load. But you can definitely, like Michael said, you can hire a guy with a truck and, you know, 2 or 3 trips and you're done. And it's cheap.
Yeah. All right, man, I got to go.
All right. Hey, folks, greatly appreciate you for being here today. Remember, if Costa Rica is on your radar, go to the link in the description below so that you can reserve your room. Because rooms are going fast, Michael. They selling out.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a good one. And don't forget, guys, we're not going to be around next week. It's the week after.
That's right, because I'm in the United States, and I'll be traveling on Sunday, so we can't do it on Sunday. But the week after, going to be some great stuff. Whatever questions you have about our personal life, you can ask.
Yeah, that's going to be I got a little anxious on that one. All right, guys. Peace. Thank you.